Warning, the following podcast contains excessive amounts of dumb jokes, subpar criticism, overly deep reads, casual use of the fuck word, and other fun expletives. Listener discretion is advised. Jacob's Ladder horror movie made in the 1990s, 1999, barely in the 1990s, right?
Was it 1999? I thought it was 1990.
It was 1990.
It was 1990?
Yeah, 1990. You had one job. It was still barely in the 90s, though. You were correct.
Yeah, that's right. Just the opposite. But my favorite horror movie, and none of you have seen it before, right?
No, this is the first time I've seen it. Although I have, now that I've seen it, I realize how many things I've consumed that are experienced or like
absorbed.
Yeah, like I've there are a lot of things that ate this movie.
Yeah, well, this movie was a jumping off point for a lot of other things.
Yeah. Hey, would you like some nerd facts about this movie?
Yeah.
I'd like to start off by saying that we made it out of Flopland. We're back in the positive, just barely. This movie had a budget of $25 million and a box office of $26.1 million. We made a profit.
Ooh, we're in a green baby.
We made those $1 million. $1 million.
Single $1 million.
More money than I have. $1 million.
It's more money than any of us have.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure all of us combined, probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Somebody has something hidden away.
Me and everyone I know.
I think at least I'm pretty sure I'm worth negative money currently. So
I'm also worth negative money.
We're dead to society.
We live in a society.
Bottom text.
So
that's kind of all I've got on the nerd facts. I do have that it inspired Silent Hill.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Remade in 2019. I looked up a little bit about the remake. It looks really bad.
Yeah,
it looks really unfortunate.
Yeah, don't watch it.
I would. This movie is go ahead and just go out on a limb here. This movie is pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I should we get into just talking about it?
Yeah, let's just talk about it. I love this movie. I'm honestly, the part of the reason I wanted to watch it is because I wanted no one I know. I think I've seen this movie, so I wanted more people to talk about it with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, fresh eyes, and to get your guys' perspective, because I really like this movie. So, spoiler alerts for parts of the podcast later on. I love the way it's shot. I love the soundtrack. I'm very big into the whole like descent into madness. What's real, what's not.
Which is a lot of this movie.
That is this movie.
It's a whole movie.
It's
much.
Also one of like the first to really do that, and like because horror movies before this, like we're just getting out of the '80s. So
yeah,
and I mean
your Freddy's and your Jasons and your Michael Myers,
your slashers and your monsters. Which I mean, those good movies, but
well, first ones are fine.
Well, there's some like the remake of the Blob that they made in the 80s. That's good.
Yeah, Blob's good.
Just the old Blob's also really good.
It is, but it's very.
I like the classic Blob.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it.
That's a good movie.
There's nothing wrong with like the classic like 60s horror movies.
Thinking of that, I was thinking sitting here about this movie. It feels more Twilight Zone-y than it does a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
It's definitely that level of horror. It's sort of existentialism.
And I love that. I love the Twilight Zone. Original, not the new one. I haven't seen the new one. I've not heard good things about the new Twilight Zone.
I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware there was a new Twilight Zone.
Yep.
Yeah, my family owns like all of the original those, so
it's very good.
That's all I've seen.
Yeah, let's go into what are some thoughts, notes you guys have.
The first thing that I have on here is the establishing shots of Vietnam are top notch.
Yeah.
They use them in every single Vietnam movie. It's always the Huey. It's always the same flying it over it. And boy,
it's always the sunset or sunrise.
And I'm a sucker for it every time. It always looks good. And this movie is no exception. So that's my first point. But overall, you're right. I think this movie is just very, very well shot. Like the cinematography is maybe my favorite thing about the movie, actually.
I would hard agree. Besides, the cinematography, the way the film is shot, and some of the like visuals in the movie, that's That's the best thing about it.
It makes you feel very claustrophobic at times.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
the camera is you are very much in a tiny box.
A lot of low angles too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say it does a really good job of making it feel like you're both like kind of claustrophobic, but because it's that kind of low angle, everything feels like it's like arching over you, which adds to that kind of claustrophobic feel.
I will say, however, I wonder how much of that is just by necessity, as the star of this movie, Tim Robbins, is
It's
6'5".
huge. Yeah.
Wow, he's 6'5".
Tim Robinson, by the way, of Shawshank fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Macaulay Culkin later on of Home Alone fame. Also Shawshank fame. So, yeah.
I mean,
of
wild.
Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin showed up in the latter half of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Famous for Home Alone and Red Letter Media.
Yeah, pretty
Macaulay
much.
Culkin.
Yeah.
He's famous for that. Yeah, he is living his life. Good for him.
No,
I like Macaulay
overall,
Culkin.
I have to agree. Like, I really like their use of cinematography. The only things that I took issue with in it is sometimes those, like in the where he's in the party, sometimes those like flashing scenes.
Yeah, warning for stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one scene.
Very stroke.
Yeah, I had to look away
Yeah.
from the screen because I'm prone to like migraines based on like light.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I almost ended up with one.
That scene's rough, but I mean, it does what it does well. I mean, like if you can handle watching those things, it makes you feel very panicked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, that reminds me, we should go ahead and put a blanket, like, this
Go
is
watch this
another
movie.
Well, a blanket spoiler warning
Yeah.
and kind of a blanket trigger warning. It's definitely bloody and gory, and especially the intro scene is
Very.
really
they're
rough. They
graphic
throw
scenes.
you into the deep end
Yeah,
pretty
there are graphic
fast.
scenes of war in that, especially in that first section, and then beyond that, your typical kind of
It's a lot of
horror film gore.
Yeah.
gore and like body horror,
Yeah.
mutilation stuff throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing,
I
which works for the plot,
Yeah.
and they don't go over the top throughout the whole movie. But when it's there, it's prominent.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
prominent. They do not shy away from it, but they don't.
They
I
don't
don't
overuse
think
it.
they
It's not like a
overuse
Saw.
it. It's not a Saw, but
There's one scene where it felt a little excessive. I know they're trying to ramp up at that moment, but
Yeah, it's supposed to in that. We can talk about it, but it's supposed to in that moment.
another thing that we forgot to do. Hey, my name's Jake, by the way.
God damn it. Fuck, man.
Every time, y'all.
You can tell we have a bad habit. Whenever it's a movie that we're really excited to talk about, we just start talking about it. But
All right,
yeah,
so you're Jake. I'm Sam.
I'm Jackson.
And I'm still Rachel.
Okay. So
God, that really threw me off.
yeah, I
Where
caught
are
it
we
this
at?
time.
I don't know. Keep going through. Yeah, what?
Talking
Go
about
ahead.
the gore. Well, we can just talk about it.
We
Yeah.
can just talk about that scene. Like, there's a scene, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where he's being taken down to X-ray.
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of those. Okay, so maybe we should, because this movie is so disjointed.
Yeah.
In how it is told, I don't want to do a full overview,
No, it's
but
very
it does
difficult.
sort of bounce between like 3 separate timelines.
Yeah.
2 main ones, and then one sort of offshoot that happens.
Well, wait, it's like a level, right? Because there's the top, which is him in Vietnam.
Yes, and then it
and
goes to him
goes lower and lower.
post-Vietnam,
Yeah.
post-divorce, suffering some kind of mental break, he thinks. And
Yeah.
then somewhere in the midst of that, we have him in sort of an idealized opposite world wherein he is still with his wife and all of his children are alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the 3 timelines that we bounce around in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the main, if we're going to label them, the main one is when he's post-Vietnam.
Yeah.
Seems to be the one where he spends most of the time in the movie.
The first layer of the dream. What would you call it? It's the flash. Because, like, let's talk about the ending, because it kind of contextualizes the whole
actually, that
movie.
might not be a bad
This movie's
plan.
not subtle by any means whatsoever.
No, it's not. But honestly, this is one of those. It's not subtle, but it doesn't necessarily beat you over the head with. Like, you know what's going on,
Well,
but
from the very beginning, you go, yes, this man is dead.
yeah, and they tell you that.
2/3 in, you go, is he
Yeah,
dead? And then, like, 10 minutes later, no, he's dead. He's
Yeah.
not dead.
Yeah, he's super dead.
yeah, because they tell you multiple times, and then they go, and then they tell you, no, you're dead.
He's dead.
But,
But
no, he's
no,
really
he's
dead.
really dead.
Yeah.
You get the first scene in Vietnam, and he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
The whole movie takes place between then and him dying in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So he's flashing in and out of consciousness, basically.
While they're trying to save.
Yeah, while they're trying to save him.
Yeah. So it's kind of a brilliant way of framing it, because through the whole thing you think it's Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah.
And I really like that about this movie.
And it kind of is. He's just flashing back to.
Yeah, he's flashing back to where he actually is. Yeah.
Yeah. And the timer, it starts getting like, is this a flashback? Is when he goes to that like idealized reality where he talks about like the main one he was living on, like how he's living with Jezebel and how that was hell. But it's like kind of like, how did we get here? And then we go back to that. It's really hard to explain it without
a visual diagram.
This is a movie where really, honestly, you should go and watch it before listening to the podcast. Like, there's no way to really talk about this. Doesn't have a coherent plot, or not in a bad way, but like
it's coherent in the context, but trying to explain it outside of it is not
going to work. Yeah.
Like, if I watch this movie as I watch so many movies, where I catch the first 10 minutes and then the last 10 minutes and like the middle bits.
Weirdly enough, actually, I think if you catch the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, it actually is like maybe makes.
Well, it's like the first 5 minutes and the last minute of the movie. It's like, wow, that was a quick movie.
It's the first movie that does that to me. I've only seen the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, and it's a very different movie than the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Battleship.
This movie is the same as Battleship.
It's a wild comparison. I'm actually going to argue, I think it's actually like, I think watching it feels disjointed, but I don't think it's extremely hard to talk about when you're watching it all the way through. If you take it out of that kind of set defining like last scene, it does feel like someone just flashing back, which I think everybody has a fairly good concept of.
It does for the most part, except when he goes to what I'm going to call the third reality, which is that like idealized one. Yeah. When he goes to that, it gets a bit muddy because you're another layer. You're another layer deep. Yeah. You're in a whole other
I think
box.
So, but how I was looking at it initially, because I kind of do the same thing where I started off like he's dead, and then once it started bringing up like there might have been like experimentation on the soldiers, I was in the that sounds totally likely. That is absolutely a thing that happened, especially Vietnam War era. And in that, I just took it as he was knocked the fuck out, which he was, but in our actual reality of Vietnam and within the secondary reality of him post Vietnam. Yeah. I thought that was just his idealized, and he was like where he'd fallen out of the car.
Which that makes sense until we get to the end of the movie. It's once as you're watching the movie, the plot works until right at the end, and you go, okay, I got a little bit lost somewhere in there. I thought I knew what was going on, and then now I have questions. And I think it comes down to the drug plot line is where I start falling apart a little bit.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't feel like the plot was having issues for me.
I won't say issues so much as it did complicate what was already a fairly cohesive plot about this man trying to excise his demons in hell so he can move on with his life.
So there is a reason for that.
Okay.
And it's not a very good one because I kind of agree with you.
It's rare, but okay.
I know, it is rare.
I'm excited.
Because I don't.
Especially after last week. Holy shit.
Because I don't love the whole.
Conspiracy?
Yeah. Because I think it muddies the movie. Conspiracy's fine. It's the point where you get that exposition dump,
where it explains the conspiracy. It takes it away from being the mystery.
Because you're just...
No, you're right.
Yeah, you don't get... They should have just kind of left it, because you're... That point, the movie slows down a lot. You're sitting there for a while, just listening to stuff that didn't really need to be said.
Well, because they explain it, and then right after that, he gets shoved right back into another fever dream.
Yes.
Which sort of makes you go, well, he knows he's real now.
Yes. Yeah. So he finds out about the experimentation. The reason I believe that is there, besides clearing it up for a wider audience, is to, make sense of his death and how he died. And so he can kind of move on past that, because you get that little flash of where he gets stabbed and he sees it's another soldier that's part of the U.S. Army.
For those who are of keen eye, you can tell it's an M16. It's pretty obviously friendly fire from the very beginning. That's not what an AK-47 or 74 looks like on the barrel.
But
which I get as far as explaining his confusion. But in the context of this man is in the process of dying, he invents in his brain an entire conspiracy to justify, or at least to retroactively
Okay.
understand the drug trip he has currently been on that would have also caused him and his crewmates to attack each other. Which, my bigger issue is I feel like it got shoehorned in just so they could have that title card at the end of the movie going, hey, this is a thing that did kind of sort of happen, maybe. No one can confirm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowing the U.S. government and the Vietnam War, I'm going to go out there on the side of yeah.
Oh,
Like, the movie
absolutely.
did not hardcore explain. Like, they did not go, this happened. All they was, this happened, but everyone says it didn't. And that's the end of our movie.
At the time, they were actually going through the first lawsuit regarding that drug. It was, in theory, never used in combat, but it was absolutely tested on soldiers. It had a slightly different effect. We can get into that later. I'm going to cut in to say I don't think it is that far off for somebody in the in that kind of flash of that weird reality that unconscious, like still alive but not awake. He's probably on a lot of drugs. Also, as somebody who gets weird dreams, I've had weirder things concocted. Him trying to make sense of it via a drug kind of trial as somebody who has a PhD and has read a lot of books, I don't think that's super far off. That was still fairly evident in a lot of the sci-fi fiction at the time. And I don't think that's a wild thing to come up with in that moment.
Okay. Yeah.
It still feels like a leap of logic to me. The kind of thing they could have tidied up a little bit by cutting from some fat.
I just don't think they needed it.
It feels a little bit unnecessary.
I'm also going to err on the side that they probably didn't need it. Like, I get what they were going for, and I don't think it was bad. Like, I think that's a little harsh to say it's bad, but I do think it was unnecessary.
Well, it's not bad in the sense that, like, they built it up and then,
And then what do you do with
finished
it?
not.
Like,
You didn't really need to do anything with it, is the thing, but I mean, they did, so I mean, good on them for it, but.
I guess, but okay, you know my big issue with it is the
Okay.
doctor guy, the pharmacist.
The
Who was
pharmacist.
there when his buddy dies, pulls him away from the car explosion,
Yes.
and then just sits on his ass for a while, and then comes back and goes, hey, by the way.
He's there multiple times.
Well, that's the thing. He's just hanging out in the background watching this man spiral, and then he shows up just to go, hey, man, I feel bad I did this to you.
Well, okay,
But
so
unless it's him trying to find a reason to forgive the person who tortured
no,
him.
it's in the context. It's like he.
Okay, so we see that guy when he's being loaded into the helicopter. That's absolutely, and I took that, in my opinion, as when he is in that state, he's picking up on faces, and that's why we see a lot of those same faces.
I don't mind that at all.
And so he's seen throughout it, and then he just attaches that, whatever excuse that is, to that man's face that his brain's concocted.
I don't mind that either. The idea of him pulling him aside and having a long, drawn-out explanation, conversation, wherein he is pissed on this man's behalf that he concocted the drug that was used to torture him, and then the only catharsis we get is from the pharmacist himself being angry, and Jacob just sort of slumping down on the ground.
In all fairness, at that point, Jacob's just happy to have an answer of any kind.
I know, but it just feels like I didn't like it. I didn't like that part.
I agree.
Totally fair.
I agree. What are some other things you have written down?
Hey, Jason Alexander in a serious role.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah,
He's on screen very little, like 2 scenes, but
and
he's
towards
awesome
the
when
end
he's
of the
in it.
movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very good.
Jason Alexander played...
The
George
lawyer.
Oh,
Costanza.
okay, yeah.
And the lawyer in
this movie.
He has a name. It's something with a G.
Gina or something.
It's not Gina.
Jerry.
Jerry, yeah.
Yeah, with a G.
But yeah, he's in there a very short amount of time. But
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
I enjoy him a lot.
he's a very good actor.
And this is Scott Cohen, who is only for people who really like 10th Kingdom. That was a really nice moment for me.
Shout out to all my 10th Kingdom family out there. Yeah.
What the fuck is 10th Kingdom?
A wonderful miniseries.
I don't know if it
It
is.
really is a genuinely good show. But
I
the guy played Wolf in it, and I love Wolf so much.
Okay. Cool.
That's a whole other episode. We'll just leave it at that.
All right. Works for me.
All the acting in
is
this was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Is that the dude who played Louie? Because I was going to talk about Louie.
No, Scott Cohen was just literally one of the orderlies, or the doctor.
Okay.
Even the doctor says, let's send him down to X-ray.
He's that guy?
He's that guy.
Okay,
I said, like, is that
okay.
him? Oh my god, that's my boy. And I didn't see him again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough to make me happy.
I want to talk about Louie.
Louie
Let's
was-
talk about
So Louie's an angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if he wasn't an angel, he's also just kind of
he's an angel.
Well, yeah, but even if he wasn't, he'd still be an angel.
He's an angel personality. Why is
I really love Louie. I love
comes busted in the hospital.
I love that scene so much.
I'm obsessed. I'm really upset.
Yeah.
Correct
Gosh,
quote.
I want a doctor with that much passion.
I know. He's a good
Preferably with a
dude.
medical degree, but
He's a
I'll
good
wrap this
dude.
around your neck, he
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, he like picks up what like a
a crutch,
cane, yeah,
I
like a
think.
crutch, and just threatens a bunch of doctors with it.
After the scenes that you just went through,
You need that.
You need that
Yeah, 'cause-
so much. He's literally rescuing the audience from like an act from like a further horror
Because
movie.
that's probably
He
like
literally realigns the movie.
yeah, because the scene before that is probably. I mean, you could argue because it's like one of 3 scenes in the movie that get the most intense, and it's the initial scene with the war, it's the
Yeah.
party, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
the scene down at X-ray.
Yeah.
I think it's the scene down at X-ray is the
I-
one that gets the most intense.
I think it's the first. I think it's the war scene, but the scene in X-ray is definitely a second place.
It's
Okay.
most drawn out. The worst
Yeah.
did not feel like it went on as long, even though the gore was more.
Well, it was more
Realistic.
real.
That's the part about the war scene bothered me way more. The dude's leg is the thing that really sticks out to me.
That's
where it's just
real.
it's like, oh god, that's
War is hell.
yeah,
is
war
the-
is hell. Hey guys,
that's the-
Vietnam was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone whitewash that shit.
Can we talk about the scene down at X-ray?
Talk about the scene.
Yeah, let's talk about
I
that.
love that scene a
So
whole
Wolf
lot.
ushers us down into X-ray.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm fine calling him Wolf. He doesn't have a name other than Doctor. I don't think so.
Taking him down to X-ray, they take him like outside first, and then into this like dirty
They take her to
building.
Silent fucking Hill. It's
Yeah.
literally the
Okay, should we
scene
talk
goes-
about that?
Yeah.
We have
Let's
to,
let's
right?
talk about
It
how
goes-
much
it
this
literally
movie
goes
inspired
sepia.
Silent Hill.
Like,
yeah.
I
no, it's very.
they take him through the broken down hospital, which is basically, I mean, you always go to the
Let's talk
hospital in
about-
Silent Hill.
Let's talk about Silent Hill 2 real quick.
Sure, let's talk. Yes, I would love to talk about
Because that
Silent
is
Hill
actually
2.
very
It's
pertinent to this
very pertinent.
movie. His outfit later in the movie,
Very
where it's the white shirt and the green
The green
jacket and the
jacket.
jeans.
Yeah, it's very
It's pretty much just
it's James
James Sunderland's outfit.
yeah.
The visuals of like the very fast, like moving jittery head,
Yup.
that visual,
the
the
going
weird monsters that
Yeah.
just keep showing up.
the going through the asylum and seeing all the like
Yeah,
different
just-
people who are there who are like maimed or otherwise.
Yeah, and like the
Deformed.
cages,
The
and, like,
cages, the gore nest essentially that they wheel him
Just a
through.
little pile of arms they roll across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's caught in the wheel.
and really just the entire like going through haunted house and going through someone's mind to
Yeah.
like grab those things. If you want to see where Silent Hill, namely 2, but like the series overall after that,
There's some parts of 3 that I caught in here too.
It's its inspiration. It's this fucking movie,
Well-
and Silent Hill wears it on its sleeve.
Yeah, and it's great that it does.
It is.
This movie also kind of deals with similar themes of 2 is weird, right? Because like 2 has a very definitive.
This is a different.
podcast. Oh yeah, but I have to talk about it a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit to make
yeah.
my point of they're both very similar in the hey, fucking you dealt with something horrible.
Yeah,
You did some fucked up shit, probably.
yeah, but you gotta.
Gotta move on,
Yeah,
or else you're gonna fucking die,
yeah,
or you're already dead.
yeah.
They're very similar like messages, I think, with what they're trying to say. That's what I was getting at there.
Yeah, no, it's
Without spoiling Silent Hill 2. Yeah.
We're only spoiling one.
Only one thing in
Yeah.
this podcast.
But I love that scene down in X-ray, like them getting progressively dirtier, and how they're kind of like just doing that loop over and over again, and how it's getting worse and worse
It got
as they
really
loop.
trippy when he was rolling by and they had the great abutment that everyone was walking on.
Yeah,
That went on for a while, but it just kept getting more intense the entire time, so it didn't feel like I was stuck in a loop.
well, it's like the wheel thing. It's whenever the camera goes back down to the ground, then it feels like we're going in circles here. It feels like we're never getting to our destination.
Mhm.
Was I imagining this, or did it also get slightly louder each time they cut back to
It
the
did.
wheels? Okay.
And brighter,
Yeah.
I think.
Brighter, and like the
Yeah.
music got more
Intense.
distorted,
Yeah.
and intense. really good. I love that fucking scene, and I love the dude keeps showing up, like the dude who's legless and whose head is like jittering.
Yeah,
doing the thing.
Faceless man.
Huh?
Like the faceless man is a cool visual, but I don't get the faceless man with like the hood thing.
It's just cool. It's just.
All right. Literary analysis. Jake is showing up. I think that is literally his guilt demon. Like, I think that's his pyramid head.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Because he shows up multiple times.
Yeah,
He's
it's
there at
always
the car
the same.
crash. He's there at the car. That's
Yeah,
exactly what
he's
it is.
He's
always
there at the
in.
car. He's there at the party. He's
Yeah.
there when he like sees his kid and he tries to go for his kid, but like,
And there's a lot of
Yeah.
the bag over the head is him refusing to it's him
Okay.
refusing to see life for what it is and things like that. Like, there's a lot you could read into it. I actually think that's kind of
That one works.
quietly brilliant.
guilt demon works.
Yeah,
though.
I 100%. It's his guilt demon. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
I got so stuck in the like haunted house trappings of the literal pile of arms
Yeah,
to really process what the guilt demon was.
no, that's totally
That's
fair.
fair. It gets so like as you're going in the infinite loop there, the gore gets ramped up more and more.
It didn't bother me because if this is a product of this man's mind,
Yeah.
he's been in like actual literal war and was
He's-
probably wheeled out of a situation that is not unlike. I mean, amped up, but nightmares will do that, and it's grody.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
man has seen death.
Yeah,
That's
I don't think that's a.
I got no issue with it being grody. It was the literal pile of arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't.
arms, legs, other things.
Yeah,
I could see that being something someone's mind concocts.
No, it works for this is as Halloween-y horror as I could possibly make it.
Yeah.
That was that scene, which works, but it is Halloween-y horror. Someone has tipped over the arm bin in the discount store.
It is good, but we need because a lot of this movie really isn't. Maybe this is the reason I like it so much because the best horror movies are most of the time actually just thrillers. But the thing about this movie is like most of it's not straight on horror. It's like there's a sense of dread and like confusion always, but it's just most of the time just trying to tell a story and get through this man's like life.
Like, process his trauma.
Yeah. But like it needs those hits for it to like keep in theme.
this movie really only has one jump scare, and it comes like 3/4 of the way into the movie.
Yeah, and it's fast, and it's not that bad.
It works, though.
It works.
It's not unearned. I'm fine with
it's
one
not
good.
unearned
I'll
and
give
cheap.
you one good jump scare. It's just
It faces things out.
Yeah, super does.
I need to. Well, actually, before we do that, one more thing about that scene down in the X-ray room. There is one. I know we talked about how it's not that bad. The worst part about that is them putting the needle straight into his head.
I looked away.
I am terrified of needles. Fun fact.
Yeah.
That's not quite as hell as someone standing menacingly at the other side of a room, which is also in this movie for me, but it's still pretty bad.
Yeah. Also, another thing about that point in the movie with the little piles of arm, that is literally hell at that point.
Yeah.
So I can give it a pass for being actually literal hell.
It works. And then go into that quiet room where it's just the doctor goes, "No, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
No, you're dead, dude.
Get out of here. Where are you gonna go?"
And then he wakes up, and then our angel comes to save him a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hero coming in, fucking
Archangel
beating
Louie.
off demons with a stick.
Archangel Louie is, look, they don't talk about him much in the Bible, but that's because his deeds outweigh anything he can say about him.
He doesn't have to be written into it. We all know that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a scene that I like because it's profoundly uncomfortable. What do you guys think about the weird fucking demon sex scene
in the middle of the party?
in the middle of the party?
Why I was getting my migraine? Yes.
Deeply uncomfortable.
Well, because he kept flashing back and forth, because sometimes it was demon sex and sometimes it was just dancing on the same shot of the same people.
Yeah, and it was also Jacob panicking, as you should in that situation.
I didn't see any of the just normal dancing shot, but I may have just been like that focused on the weird tentacle going up her leg. And that moment where I was like, someone watched a lot of anime.
There's a lot going on there. It's very hentai.
Japan owes this movie a lot.
Well, once again, so does Silent Hill, because the thing that's attacking her is some like weird.
It is basically a Silent Hill boss.
Yeah, that fucking penetrates her all the way through the
Yeah.
like all the way up through the mouth.
Yeah, that bothered me more. When
That's-
it, like
that's
went through
death,
her
dog.
mouth.
Yeah. And then you see her like a scene
response
fine
was
lady.
the correct one. Just
Yeah,
follow the
fall
floor
in and scream.
Fall before and scream.
That
That's
seems how I
fair.
react to that situation.
What
And
is
her just like politely shut the door and assume it was a weird New York thing.
No,
Which
she
is
did
a
that
lot of
with
this movie.
Was there
Yeah.
a horse head?
Yeah, it was like a horse
Oh,
skull.
it was a goat.
Goat
Yeah.
skull.
I think it's a goat.
It's
Bovine
something.
skull of some kind.
Yeah.
Kind of equine.
It was just
creature.
sitting in the fridge.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
just
I will
grab
say,
it
up
and close the door.
until
Yeah.
the moment with the like weird demon sex scene,
Yeah.
all of those things I think could be totally explained by New York's weird, man. New York,
Yeah.
New York in like the late 70s.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. It's late
Late
70s,
70s,
early
early
80s. It's somewhere
Yeah.
between there. The Twin Towers are standing. That's your mark.
Yeah. Kermit the Frog is alive in this
Is it?
timeline.
What if it did take place in 1981? Kermit's in Manhattan as this movie takes place. He's about to get married to Miss Piggy. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
That's my fan theory. Jacob's Ladder and Muppets in Manhattan take place at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, no,
That's wrong.
I like that scene a whole lot. That was profoundly uncomfortable.
Super uncomfortable. Most of the like this movie isn't super scary. It's just
very
deeply like skeevy.
Yeah.
Also, just like sad. Especially,
very
it's
sad.
incredibly sad because even the moments that are not actively like, I'm using dreadful, but as in like dread-inducing,
Mm.
not as in bad.
That is a lot of this movie. Is like just dread. Just
Well, even the moments it doesn't have that, there's that just kind of overcurrent, like just sadness. Because I think watching this, even if you don't take it from, even if you cut off like that end bit where we find out that he is dead or he was in the process of dying during this, I think it reads a lot like someone who is going through a lot of trouble. And if we take it kind of how it initially presents itself as like a veteran experiencing the lasting effects of PTSD. And of course, it goes a little bit farther towards the end where it's like, oh, the military did something specifically to him.
Yeah.
It is just sad, honestly. It's a man who's divorced from his wife.
Kid's dead.
Yeah, kid's dead. He's struggling, obviously, and he has a partner who, and granted, of course, all of this isn't real, but he has a partner who seems to be trying, but it does not seem to fully know what to do.
Yeah.
They're real.
Which makes it inherently just incredibly sad, even in those moments that aren't filled with dread and horror.
I'll hold my thought. You can go ahead.
Well, I was just saying the partner is going back to what Angel Louie is talking about the demons that are there aren't there to keep you there. They're trying to get rid of your connections so you can move on. And that's his Jezebel, his quite literal Jezebel.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her name is Jezebel.
Very subtle movie.
Yeah.
His sons are named after prophets, and he's dating Jezebel.
I do love the idea of like her being like literal demon Jezebel, and she's like, please don't call me that. It's like when like someone calls someone by their full name.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's just like, God, can you not? That's what my parents call me.
the movie isn't. So I give it a pass because it's like the
There's
first.
nothing.
It's nothing wrong with it.
Things don't have to be subtle.
No.
Sometimes it's okay to double down. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
I mean, our main character's name is Jacob. I mean, if we want to get like back to the biblical
Okay,
side of thing,
Can we talk about biblical Jacob for a moment?
Yeah.
Jacob fucking wrestled an angel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. That's all I wanted to. That's all.
Quite a lot.
That's
Yeah,
the dude did.
The dude fought
Yeah, he
for his,
did.
what is it? His
He just
blessing
wanted a
or something?
blessing.
Yeah.
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 He beat an angel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob in this movie went through literal hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Angel was his friend, though.
Angel was his friend, Angel
His
Louie.
son's name is Dave, and
Yeah.
they flip open the book, just pointing. No, they had some real thought put in there, but still.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a solid movie, but it doesn't need to be. And it works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My thing was just going to be, it's a very, very, like, just taking it away from the demons part of this. That's a real not good relationship that you're in, dude.
Ooh,
It's
yeah, it was real bad.
real unhealthy.
Party relationship.
It's worse than that, I think. I'd say it's borderline, like, could you imagine if you were dealing with a fucking, like, severe, like, mental trauma like PTSD and your fucking significant other is only like, I can't believe how this affects me.
Yeah.
Gosh, how dare you? How dare I take you to a loud party with a lot of people and then you flip out? Like, how dare?
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed in this moment.
She's
You
not-
need to work your issues out.
She's not great. I mean, she's not.
real, though.
Oh, she's
very
super real
real.
because she's not horrible. She's not like
She's not
evil
hor-
stepmother.
You don't
Yeah.
hate her. You get frustrated with her a lot,
Yeah.
but she comes and goes.
But it's like the thing is, it's like in the context of that, it's like Jacob's not a great guy either.
No,
so
he's
it's
not.
like, yeah, it works. You understand that relationship.
No, Jacob is he's full of himself and he doesn't listen and he's prone to violent fucking outbursts.
Yeah.
Like, these aren't perfect people. I like that about this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Every character that we meet is like, except for Louie, is like
That's
pretty
perfect.
realistic. Yeah, Louie's perfect, but he's supposed to be. He's not a person, he's an angel.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Fits. Do you guys have any other notes about the movie you would like to go over? Any points you want to hit?
I like the use of red and blue lighting to show off when something like supernatural is about to occur.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's they really love red and blue lighting for showing off when like demons are coming versus when we're having like a planar transition with blue. I liked it.
in the train ride opening, just the way
Yeah.
that they set up those two tracks.
Which-
the fact that he's straddling those tracks and trying to figure
By
out
the
which one
way,
he's jumping down.
The most subtle thing in the movie, him looking up, and one of the first things he sees is a big sign that says "Hell."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we talk
Yeah.
about the train, just the whole train opening real quick? 'Cause
Yeah, let's talk about the train opening. That's good.
one, he wakes up on the train after he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
I could not tell what book he's reading. That's going to bug me for a while. But
I was
We
trying
could-
to read it
we
too,
could
man.
probably.
could not figure
we
it out.
could
to save
probably-
my life.
Because you see it later on, but it's such a quick flash.
They don't give you titles for most of the things that are going on, other than all the witchcraft books.
Well, no, that same book he had was in the
his desk
drawer, but it was
He kept it
moved
with
to
him.
the side, so
Yeah, I couldn't read it.
Yeah.
But he wakes up, he sees the sign, New York equals hell, basically.
Yeah.
And then the only other signs you can read in the entire train station are either hell or ecstasy.
Yeah.
And that is it. And that is the entirety of this movie, is whether or not he's having a great time or he's literally suffering. He's sort of caught in between. And he gets stuck at this shut down train station.
Yeah, for some reason
For some
it's the gates closed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, it's his mind, but like in the context of the movie, it's closed. I guess they're just
Well,
trying not
that's
to
what
let
he's
people
already
in or
been
something.
Kind of. Because
No, he
there's
is.
already the weird, like...
As soon as he gets
physical creature.
stabbed, it's the transition.
Yeah.
Like,
But even on the train, when he's realizing things aren't right, there's that, again, faceless man.
Yep.
The first iteration of the faceless man.
Yeah.
Both on the train that he starts on, and once he jumps the tracks.
yeah, he's in the back of the train car, and he has like the little. You get the show off of that little tentacle that's
He's a little
like
more
creeped him
Slenderman
out.
in that shot, but yeah.
He is, yeah. And you get the weird old lady who's just, honestly, like, you've seen that lady. She's not having any of your fucking business.
She doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just legitimately someone you could find on the subway.
Yeah.
I think that woman just happened to be stopping through
That
Helen
woman-
with groceries.
Yeah. I was like, could you fucking stop? Listen, I know I'm dead.
Just stop talking to me. Seriously,
I will say,
please.
for me, one of those horrific moments of this movie was, don't cross the train tracks and then stop, guys. You really shouldn't do that. It's really dangerous.
Well, yeah, because him stepping on that one rail,
Yeah.
he's dead.
No, he's
right
dead.
there.
Right there. It's a bad plan. Don't
you
do
saw
it.
him test it with his shoe.
Yeah,
Have you
he
seen
would have
the-
been dead.
Have you seen the Mythbusters episode on those train tracks? They
Yeah.
don't fuck around,
No,
dude.
they do not. They will kill you.
They will kill you and everyone you care
ever.
about.
Don't ever try to cross train tracks like that.
Just don't
Bad.
cross
It's
train
a bad
tracks.
plan.
Go walk around. Sleep on the platform,
They
man.
couldn't get
It's
out
New York.
because they locked down the... He couldn't leave.
I've seen enough horror movies to know to stay on the platform.
Yeah, that's fair. But he's a horror movie. In the horror movie. He
yeah.
doesn't know the
Wait for the
rules.
next train, cross across the train.
Well, he's already hell at that point, you know.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, it's a
Only way
horrible
out is through
decision making.
Rachel.
Horrible decision making
Oh.
paradigm.
This is interesting. I'm trying to figure out what that book was in the beginning.
It
But,
showed up twice, so I feel like it's
yeah,
relevant.
I
could
was-
not tell.
but I'm looking at like a list of things about the movie, and apparently 20 minutes of disturbing footage had to be cut from the movie because it did not go well with test audiences.
What else did they put in?
I'm curious.
let me
They
look.
left
How
in
much
some.
longer was the X-ray scene?
No, I'm gonna throw it out there. I think it was probably like Vietnam War stuff.
I believe that.
I'm leaning more towards the X-ray scene. They spent so much time on that. I feel like it had
I feel like they left every second of monster sex scene in this, so I think it has to be one of those two other scenes.
You gotta have that appeal, Jake.
Huh?
You gotta have that monster sex appeal with the too much flashing lights.
Look, no. No.
Gotta leave all of it in, apparently.
You did not say what scene, like what got cut from it, but it was just apparently too overwhelming for people. I mean, granted, this was the 90s. We've seen worse things now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean,
now, but
the invention of the internet.
Yeah.
bad shit in the 90s, too.
No, there's a lot of bad shit in the 90s. I'm just saying it was almost like people weren't exploring that as much, and it wasn't like news and shit, but it wasn't as publicized, and like the internet was just starting out, so you couldn't like go and be desensitized on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah. Apparently, I'm just getting a lot of interesting things. Paramount Pictures, apparently, who I guess originally had it for whatever the horse company is, the Pegasus. I don't know what that film company.
New Line? No, it's not New Line. I don't know who it is.
Anyways, Paramount apparently originally had it, and they dropped it. TriStar.
Yeah.
Okay. But Paramount had it, and they apparently dropped it after they refused to change the ending. So good on them for sticking by their guns. Yeah.
Oh, wow, this movie would not have made sense with a different ending.
No, I
think it would have been or it would have taken away all punch of the film. All the punch.
I love how long it lingers on that dude just typing into the typewriter and then pulling the paper away at the very end. That's so
good.
Yeah.
Goddamn good.
We talked about the entire ending.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can talk about the ending.
I fucking love from like the moment he's in the taxi to like the moment at the very end in Vietnam. I love that entire like
sequence.
Yeah.
Gosh, so good.
It is. Because when he's up in the apartment, it's so quiet and it doesn't give you any more than it needs to. And it's just sitting there, and whenever he like closes his eyes and all you see is like the flashes and you hear the heartbeats. Yeah. It's
yeah,
man, that scene hits.
What I also really, really love about that scene is as soon as he gets out of the taxi, the doorman seems like genuinely surprised but excited to see him. And as he's walking in, you get that kind of bittersweet look on the doorman's face, where he knows something. He kind of knows the resolution is coming.
Yeah, he's going up to his end. I mean, it's a bittersweet thing.
But it was. I thought that. I agree with you from the taxi to the end. It's really beautiful.
Also, just the cinematography in the apartment, like Jacob being in shadow a lot of the time until
he's set.
Yeah.
At vigil and had his full night.
Yeah. It's really good. I love the ending of this movie a lot. Yep.
I was for a moment there like so worried that they were going to just not commit in the end. Yeah. And had it be a situation in which like you find the family dead and he like kills himself. I was so worried about like a family annihilator ending for a moment there. And I was like, please tell me they committed to the he's dead thing. Yeah. I had that singular moment of fear.
I wouldn't have seen him killing off his family. There was a moment where I wondered if he was going to kill himself. And I guess in a way he just agreed to die. But
it's a little different than killing yourself.
Yeah. I like getting to walk into the angelic light upstairs with his, cherubic little Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Love it.
At the end of your life, so Macaulay Culkin is there at the pearly gates to usher you through, and that's a comforting feeling.
Although I will say, it's like, you get that end, which is really nice, and it's nice to have that, and then you just fucking go back to reality. It's like, well,
it also looks peaceful, and that's not so good.
No,
that's all you
good.
Get, right?
It's like good. I mean, though, life moves on. That's immediately.
Like
that's
what that thing off,
is.
It's over.
Yeah,
it's very unceremonious in kind of a perfect way.
And much like you said, I love how it lingers on that shot for just enough.
Type up that death certificate, man. That guy's it's Vietnam. That dude has so many more of those to process.
Yeah, take his dog tag and just like throw it in a
box, send him to his family.
It's good. It's really good. I got nothing but good things to say about the end of this movie. I can't think of... My main problems are with, like, a lot of the conspiracy parts of the movie.
Yeah, I think... I will say, I think the conspiracy parts by themselves don't bother me. But I have to agree with saying that, like, they are made worse by the fact they end with that fact about the BZ.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that was unnecessary. I get why they did it because apparently, like that was around the time
it was a thing.
The first lawsuit came about because they actually ended up having another one in 2006 about BZ, which was used on soldiers. They were going to... So basically it was an ulcer drug that was kicked because it caused too many hallucinations, and they kind of kicked that up, and they were going to use it to disorient opposing forces.
Yeah.
They actually did test it at the Edgewood facility. And Edgewood is, if you want to look this up, that's the what the lawsuit is referring to, because they tested a lot of stuff there. But the BZ they tested on some people, and this I thought was interesting. They put 3 guys in basically like a tent and like a setup, and we're trying to make them go through like a normal like routine to see how it disoriented them. The first guy they super dosed. Yeah. So one guy felt like a good part of the first part of the experiment. His entire job was just making sure the other guy didn't damage himself. And then they gave lower doses to the other 2. And then one of them did rapid fire push-ups to try to work it out of his system. And the other guy got to just go to sleep. And I don't think that's very fair.
Yeah, one's definitely better than the other. Yeah.
But no, so it is based on a real drug. Was theoretically not used. It was stockpiled in bombs with an aerosol spray.
It was fucking Vietnam. A lot of shady shit.
This was way after the fact too.
Okay.
No, they started stockpiling it in I think it's at 69. And they kept doing that. And then Iraq was accused of having it at one point, but who knows?
You're telling me that we accused Iraq, someone in the Middle East, of having chemical weapons, and I have no proof of that. When did this accusation happen? Did it happen in between the years of 2001 to 2004 by chance?
I would have to check again. I'm not entirely sure.
You don't have to check. I'm pretty confident in when it happened.
Which, Rachel, with all that wonderful information about all of that...
it was unneeded.
Yeah, that would have been a cool movie, if only it were its own movie, and not this one. About this man having to live his life and decide whether or not he wants to.
I don't have a problem with that plot line. I do think it probably needs less airtime, but I don't have a problem with it.
Hold on. I just made a connection in my brain. That scene lasts a pretty decent amount of time. Mm-hmm. We had to cut 20 minutes of apparently way too intense footage.
You think
maybe there's some stuff that made it better?
I don't know. Maybe.
The whole conspiracy is drawn out for so long.
Yeah. I think the point of the conspiracy is to try to draw you away, draw you into.
Yeah, it's
maybe this is
it's a red
fake out. It's a huge red herring.
But it's an unnecessary fake out.
I agree.
Because in the end, it's not a fake out. In the context of his mind, it's real. And then it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the point of the movie, though, right?
A lot of it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because you just let it go. I mean, it works.
If he had to have something in order to forgive and let go of, other than the fact that he was in Vietnam and the fact that his son died and he failed his marriage.
Listen,
if that's not enough for him, then sure,
it works. It's not good. It's not good, but it works.
Suffering enough. Don't make him a guinea pig.
Well, I mean, his marriage didn't fail in real life. That was the demon trying to know that.
Well, we don't know that.
I'd argue that it probably did, because if the son died before he went to Vietnam, this dude already had a PhD. I'm gonna go ahead and just make some jumps here. Y'all can follow me if you want. Y'all can say I'm stupid if you want, but this dude went to Vietnam to run away from his failing marriage, I think is what happened.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. The whole because he feels super guilty about it, because that scene where the wife comes in and visits us in the hospital and she's like, I still love you. It's like him trying to just deal with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he had gotten back and they had divorced was mentioned.
They didn't say when.
Okay.
Whatsoever. We do know that his son died. We know he went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And we know he's no longer married to his wife.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think they're still married. I think they're just separated.
No, I think...
At no point is she called his ex-wife. At no point in that film do they ever call it.
Yeah,
they say divorce. But
they say divorce. They say divorce multiple times.
Yeah. I think it might be left ambiguous on purpose. I think there's a lot that you can...
Regardless, they're not
together in the first level of the dream, if you will, for sure.
And I don't think they're together in reality either. Just because he feels guilty about...
He's in Vietnam. He ran away. No matter which way you look at it, divorced or together, he ran away.
Yeah.
To a terrible, terrible place.
Yeah. But let's answer some questions about the movie. So
Let me flip back to our question.
Yes, Sam, that's on you, because none of us can remember.
That's not true. I remember.
I don't.
Our first
one
it's up
job.
to you guys.
That's my one job.
So glad half the table.
We have my one
Yeah,
job. All right.
it's not up to us.
Our first question is: what's your worst, or what favorite and worst part, or favorite and least favorite? Take your bet.
Am I going first this
I
week?
think you are.
Yeah.
You're in first chair.
You're in the hot seat.
First chair. All right. So I'll go least favorite first. The exposition of the drug is really bad, and it's slow, and it takes away from the entire movie. It's an unneeded scene. I don't think it's good. It explains a character who didn't need explanation beyond him being this. He's the surgeon at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the explanation it needed. It didn't need the drug thing. I don't know. It's just weak in an otherwise pretty strong movie. Favorite part? I'm gonna go. Man, that opening is strong. Like, I keep thinking, that's the part that's stuck in my head the hardest besides the very end, and it's in between the two. I think I'm just going to go the very beginning because, like, man, that sets up everything so well. Like, you have all the clues in that first bit to know exactly how this movie's going to end, and I like that a lot. Yeah. I think it's a very strong opener.
All right.
Yeah. I will see what next.
Rachel?
Yeah, sure. Least favorite part, there was no, part, the drug exposition didn't bother me nearly as much as I think it bothered the rest of the table.
Yeah.
I think it was perhaps it was long, but I felt like that a lot of the scenes were just, a little too long for me. The one that stands out the most in my mind is that kind of party scene. I feel like just goes slightly too long with the bright flashes in between, and of course I'm biased just because I'm never a huge fan of those scenes in horror films if they last that long.
Yeah.
I feel like at a certain point it takes away from the feeling, and you're like, okay, but when is this done? When does he break? Which might be the part. Favorite scene? It's got to be that last scene when he goes up and that kind of calm acceptance.
Yeah.
I think that just brings it home for me. I really enjoyed it.
Jackson?
Yeah. I mean, least favorite, same as Jake's. I don't like the drug exposition.
Yeah, the LSD.
Yeah,
Or
the
whatever.
ladder, as it's
Yeah,
called.
the ladder.
in the movie.
Which is, man, that's so on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it. It just goes too long. It's not needed. Take it out of the movie and it would have been fine. I like the connection that I made where they had to take 20 minutes out of the movie, so they just filled it with that.
Give us the drug cut.
Yeah.
I love the idea in this situation. They had 20 minutes. They went, you gotta get rid of that 20 minutes. They said, well, we gotta find new 20 minutes.
Yeah. I'll stick these two characters in the room. Favorite? It's hard between two. Man. Well, it's hard, right? Because what do I like visually, and what makes my heart giddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What makes your heart giddy in this movie? That's what I want to know.
I like the X-ray scene a whole lot.
That makes your heart giddy.
That makes my heart giddy. It's
It's a very good horror
It's everything
scene.
I love about horror in that moment.
Everything makes sense now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a straight tie between that and the ending, though, because visually and just. You know what? I'll say this. Overall, I think the ending is my favorite scene. It's so nice and well put together, and just it's not big.
It kind of brilliantly does slam itself into a wall, though, too.
Yeah.
With it cutting to the surgery right after this nice quiet moment of it does get a happy ending, and it's like no, not really.
It's like he's still dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say the ending, but the X-ray scene does make my heart very, very giddy.
There.
Sam.
Well, I really didn't like the unnecessary drug plot.
Get on the bandwagon.
I don't want to be on the bandwagon, but
It's not a bad
I
place
think
to
we're
be.
on an agreement for once, so maybe I shouldn't ruin that.
Get on the band bus.
No, I wasn't a big fan of that. I think
Yeah.
the thing that stood out to me the most is probably the most irritating portion, because it just felt so. It felt counter to the whole thing they were doing.
Yeah.
I wish they had doubled down on the thing they were doing instead of going, by the way, also drugs. As far as my favorite bit, I'm kind of tied for two.
Yep.
I really, really love the conversation that Louie has with Jacob.
That's true. I completely forgotten about that. We didn't talk about it.
That's my second place.
Like,
I like that interpretation of them trying to explain hell, because in this case, he's in hell, he's not in purgatory. Based on this explanation, you go to hell regardless, and the demons are trying to get you out, or at least end your suffering.
If we can just like talk about that a little bit, that's a super fucking interesting way to look at hell. Yeah, it's like no matter what, you go to hell, but you always get out as long as you're willing to overcome it and
you're in charge of your own suffering.
Yeah,
which is a very interesting interpretation. I don't know how that sits with a lot of people's like theologies, but it's a very, very
not to get super into religion, but I like it. I like that a whole lot.
And it lets you have Jezebel be a demon without being someone that you hate, even though she's present for all of the suffering.
Yeah,
which is also the reason that he like. It's interesting because in the bit where he's having the like 106-degree fever, and the whole apartment complex is trying to cool him down and save him. Yeah, they're trying to save him from his peaceful fate.
Yeah, they're trying to prevent him from moving on.
Yeah, but honestly, it's preventing him from being stuck in the past. So it's one of those like, it wasn't even that they were trying to save him from finding peace within himself. They were trying to save him from being stuck in one memory that can never go anywhere. Which was just a neat moment because it made it feel like not everyone was evil, even though a lot of people were horrible and creepy and trying to kill him.
They're not evil demons; they're just demons.
They got a job, guys.
Just because they got a job, that's the 9 to 5.
It's the Zangief line. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
But no, I really, really like that conversation. But it is also tied with all the ladies singing the Postman song to him.
Yeah, that seems good too.
That seems really good.
That would make me giggle.
That's some good levity.
Yeah.
This movie does like
levity.
Before they try and run him over. But
tiny moments of levity.
Yeah, that's what you know.
That's what you need. Is coming.
Yeah, that's what you need, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. All right. So on to our next question, Jake. Was this a technically good film?
Yes. Pretty easy yes on that front. Like, it does basically everything right. I normally don't like horror movies. I've been over this before. This is probably going to slot right into third place for my horror movies of all time. Like, it's very, very good. And if Alien and The Thing didn't exist, this movie would probably also be in my number one spot. It's just an incredibly good movie. It's tense. It makes you feel like it kind of crushes you with its weight at times, but it allows itself to breathe. It allows you to actually, the character work is top notch, which doesn't happen often in horror movies. Yeah. And I really don't have any. Oh, and the soundtrack is so good. Really good. Like, that's another part.
It's subtle though.
It's very subtle, but it works so well. And I just basically only have good things to say about this movie from a production standpoint, and it's written really well. And good stuff. Just a good movie, good solid film.
Rachel?
Yeah, I think technically it's a good film overall. It's probably my favorite representation, just like visually and story-wise, of purgatory I've seen in a movie. And I watch a lot of horror films that kind of try to get this feeling, and I don't think any of them fully capture what this movie did.
I think it helps because they don't try and make it purgatory, because in purgatory you're trying to work off your sins so you can go somewhere else. This is hell. He's in hell. He's supposed to be suffering.
I took it as purgatory, but I took it from purgatory as just the general how it's used in like stories, not in the like technical religious aspect of it.
Okay,
that's fair.
That's one way to do it.
I'm just saying generally, like
what Sam is saying is you're wrong.
No, I understand where you're coming from.
I get what you're saying. In movies and books and like fiction and that kind of stuff is used more in this way.
It's a bit similar. He's in a place that sucks. Yeah, and they did it really well.
He is waiting.
Yeah, he's waiting. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Probably favorite rendition of that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, duh. But I said this is like my favorite horror movie earlier.
Has it been reinforced?
I mean, I don't know, man. It's just one of those movies that you have those movies that really fucking resonate with you. And this is one of those for me. And it's just shot super well. I love everything about the way this movie is shot. I wish I was more well-versed in the art of cinematography so I could get more technical about it. But it's really nice to look at. Soundtrack's solid, does everything it needs to. Like I said, I love the whole descent into madness and like what's real, what's not. all of that kind of storyline. The acting's great. The characters are great. It has like one big blemish that I don't like. It can be improved on, but you know what? That doesn't take away really from the rest of the movie for me. So yeah, I could say plenty of great things about this movie. It's fantastic. I love it. So yeah, yes, it is a good movie.
Excellent.
I have to agree. No, it is technically a good movie.
Yeah.
Even the bit that I'm not super big on, it doesn't screw with the pacing, which the pacing feels a little slow in some places.
Yeah.
But I think they're also just trying to draw out and make it feel like he's stuck, which works, which makes sense that he can't go forward. Some days feel like loops to me just because of how they start and how they finish.
Yeah.
But other than that, and even that seems like more of a decision that was made as opposed to just sort of technical mishap.
Yeah.
Or even a misshoot, just one that I'm not overly keen on. It was still really well done. The actors, I think Elizabeth Pena and Tim Robinson killed it the entire way through.
Yeah.
Both of them, I felt for both of them quite often. I was confused by Jezebel, but also the way they portrayed her, you kept trying to figure out how she's going to figure out how to communicate with him. Like, she's struggling too, even though she's clearly trying to lead him in certain directions. There was a lot of them being like, is she manipulating him, or is she just trying to understand a man who is suffering?
I think it's, and the brilliant thing about that is I think it's a little of both, right? Yeah, like...
It's kept ambiguous, and one can exist and the other can as well in this situation. So it was really well done.
Very real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. It was really well done.
Yeah.
All right. So on to our last question. Jake, would you watch it again?
Actually, yeah. Weirdly enough.
Okay.
I normally don't watch horror movies twice, but like I said, this slots well into the movies that I have watched multiple times. So there's a lot going on here that's like interesting, like just visually. Like I kind of want to go back and like go over some of the scenes more slowly, kind of really take a microscope to it, if you will. Like I could watch this again. Probably not soon.
Yeah, it's not like
probably not more than one or two more times, but I could definitely watch this movie again.
It's on every other week.
No, definitely not.
Rachel, what about you?
I don't think so. I don't think I need to watch it again. I think that once was fine. I think the only instance in which I would watch it is if I thought I really needed to introduce it to someone who had not seen it, because I do not think you can. I don't think that I would be able to suggest someone watch this film and not offer to watch it with them, because I feel like this movie alone, I feel like it's a lot, you know? So I'd watch it with someone. I think it's a weird one just to leave someone with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I would watch it with somebody again if they wanted to watch it. It's not one I'm going to seek out probably though.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
Now, Jackson, would you watch this movie again?
Do I really need to fucking answer? Like,
Yes, you have to, as the rules of the podcast, you have to answer.
Yeah,
I have one job on this show.
That's true. Yes, I would watch it again. If that was not inherently obvious, I would watch it again, much like Jake said. I would watch it again just to look at some of the visuals and cinematography in the movie. Yes. Sam?
I think I would. I don't think I'd watch it more than once a year or so.
Yeah. It's a yearly movie. I watch it every year at Christmas.
And that's around when I watch Saving Private Ryan, so I can't judge.
Oh, man, that was a good movie, though.
Mm-hmm. It's a once a year movie.
Yeah.
If you try and watch it before her designated movie day, she turns it off. It doesn't matter what you were doing.
Doesn't matter how your life's going.
Watch it in another room.
I only have the one room.
You can pull it spinning up on your laptop. I've seen you do it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that for Saving Private Ryan.
Well, I don't know what the issue is.
It is kind of a movie that lends itself to the big screen.
Yeah, and it was in the moment. It was time for the movie.
What she leaves out is she was actively on her computer doing something else.
Like, you don't do that.
Hold on, actually, that reminds me about something that I was reading when I was reading those fun facts. And granted, who knows how much truth there is to this, because it's the things like this are kind of.
We never claim to be accurate.
Yeah, but it was said that Tom Hanks was supposedly considered for the role instead of Tim Robinson.
People considered if we're basing things off of like rumor mill.
Yeah. I don't think he would have been as good.
No, I don't think so either. That would have just been weird seeing Tom Hanks in the situation.
He probably would have been fine because
he's Tom Hanks. But I was just thinking about that.
They also said they considered, I don't know how true this is, but like Susan Sarandon, Andy McDowell, and Michelle Pfeiffer for the role of Jezebel.
And Madonna, I read
And
as
Madonna,
well.
yeah.
You can consider anybody for a role, man. I can pick up
Yeah.
a movie and say,
Yeah,
man, I got the
audition,
next Schwarzenegger film for you. Get that 80-year-old man over here. We'll get him a cigar and we'll get him filming.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was good. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was
No,
just,
it's
you guys
good.
were talking about Saving Private Ryan. I was thinking about Tom Hanks.
No, I think I would watch it again. I don't think I'd watch it all the time, but it does do what you want a horror movie to do, wherein, like you said, there is minimal use of the horror aspect.
Yeah.
It makes you work for it. They hold it back, which is always a good thing, If you flash that monster too often, he's not as scary.
Yeah, he gets boring. And you know what? Also, so many horror movies, no one gets to win in the end, and that works for some. But man, it's nice to see one where it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was good.
I guess it's weird, but this is a win for him.
It is. Ultimately, it is a win.
Yeah. He comes to, he gets to have some peace, some inner peace. Even if it's only for a moment.
Forever.
Yeah.
He has to go upstairs. It's good in there.
You got to see his son again.
This movie would have sucked if it were like, oh, I'm stuck here forever, and it was all Satan. It was Satan's doing the whole
Macaulay
time.
Culkin was actually
Satan.
I kind of want to take one quick moment here, just for a second.
Sure.
I find it kind of funny in this day and age, by the way, that they keep pointing out that he has this PhD. It's implied in English, and then he goes to work for a post office as if that is not massively what happens nowadays.
Well,
in 1990, the economy wasn't shit.
Oh, absolutely.
You had so many more options.
I just love how it's pitched in this, and then you really have to put yourself in that time frame.
Oh, yeah, and even earlier, because the movie was made in 1990. That takes place in the late 70s. I completely...
Yeah,
it's just the one thing that doesn't age particularly believably. It's like, oh, I can't believe you did this. And it's like, yeah, I feel like... Because my immediate reaction to that was like, I feel like it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, I
tons
think
of people.
this degree was also in philosophy. I feel like I heard that specifically.
Yeah, it was just a PhD in philosophy.
If you're doing that, I think it's more implied that this is your passion. You're going to teach. You're going to really hit those.
I mean, it can be your passion, but the job might not be there, is what I'm saying.
I think you're letting your current day,
That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, this immediate plot thread where it's like, I can't believe you did this, does not play to our audience unless you put yourself back in that time frame.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
But I think that's
our 3 questions.
That's our 3 questions. That's everything. Do we have anything else?
Like this movie. Go watch this movie.
Yeah, go watch this movie.
Maybe don't watch it alone. Maybe you have somebody with you.
Or do. I watched it alone.
Watch it alone, but maybe have somebody with you.
Movies, as we've learned by retiring one of our questions, movies are better with people.
And movies about existential dread, maybe just have somebody with there.
It's definitely easier to watch with people. Don't watch all movies together. There's some that you should not watch in a group.
Probably not, but
don't go out and say, hey, we just heard this cool movie called a Serbian film. You want to watch this together?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Don't watch that. Unless you're just trying to get a reaction out of a group of 10 people. Then
or you just want to it's just that one film you don't like that much, I guess.
Or you're just a supremely daft person and you just can't read the fucking room. And it's like, I love this. It's great.
Or you don't know what the movie is.
Or you don't know what the movie is.
I hate everything about that fucking movie, by the way. I get why they made it. I understand what the director is trying to do. Because it is
a whole other thing. Because I was thinking about this the other day. I get it. You can say a movie, oh, I'm trying to do this. But really, at the end of the day, you're just making a...
You did it or you didn't.
You did it or you didn't.
You shouldn't have to tell me at the end what you were trying to do.
Man, it's sometimes you just... Yeah, it's just you're making a fucked up movie to make a fucked up movie. You're not really saying much.
Just own it.
Yeah.
Just say I wanted to make a fucking exploitation film. It's fine.
It's fine.
Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Don't pee in my ear and tell me it's raining.
Either,
also, don't make that movie. But
don't fucking lie.
Don't be a liar and make that movie. If you're gonna do one, you can't do the other.
Commit to the bit.
Yeah, there's just some people
quick
hack
aside.
frauds.
Yeah, some people are.
Us.
Yeah, we are hack frauds. I'm Jake. I've been your first hack frauds.
I'm Sam. I've been your second.
I don't. Am I third or fourth? Where are we at in the hierarchy? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I guess I'm gonna choose to move forward.
I'm Rachel, and I've been your third. I forgot what we were
Hack
ranking.
frauds.
Yeah, third hack fraud.
I'm Jackson. I'm the bottom hack fraud. You can take me out of context saying I'm the bottom. Do whatever you want with it. All right, thank you for listening.